De parte de la Secretaría de Integración Económica Centroamericana, que vienen alineado a nuestros trabajos en donde fomentamos justamente ese empoderamiento de la mujer centroamericana, y el e-commerce nos apoya a trascender fronteras.
Fui alumna de una empresa en Guatemala que estaba más avanzada que yo en la parte del e-commerce. Teníamos que ser también tutoras.
Un aprendizaje mutuo. Con nuestras experiencias nos fuimos apoyando durante todo el tiempo.
Súper motivador escuchar que todas estábamos teniendo los mismos problemas y que todas estábamos viendo cómo salir.
Cuando tú estás enseñando algo que tú acabas de aprender, trasladándosela a alguien, aprendes muchísimo más.
Tener determinación, nunca rendirse, enfrentar cada reto y superarlo, tener flexibilidad porque las cosas de la vida pasan y hay que tener paciencia y adaptarse a diferentes situaciones y tener optimismo.
El e-commerce ha sido para mí un gran reto y este programa me ha dado las bases para dedicarme a futuro completamente a Lisirena. En el mundo actual, el negocio que no tenga e-commerce es como si no existiera.
Me di cuenta de que todo lo que sabía tenía que mejorarlo, crecerlo o reformarlo.
Su página quedó linda, sus ideas de promoción son muy novedosas y sus productos quedaron exquisitos. Su próximo reto, Etsy, Amazon, no lo sé.
Hubo muchos aprendizajes, tiempos de frustración, horas y horas frente a la pantalla, pero la pasión y dedicación de Tatiana produjeron muy lindos resultados.
Ella me ha inspirado a ser realmente un reflejo de ella. La verdad, yo me siento súper contenta.
Logramos concretar una venta muy buena con un cliente local, que es la venta mayor que hemos tenido en 20 años de la empresa y que logró generar 4 nuevos empleos.
Somos marcas pequeñas, pero vemos el potencial y sabemos que el trabajo que estamos haciendo es un motor enorme de empleo para mujeres y que va a seguir ayudando al desarrollo sano y saludable de nuestros países.
Pienso que fue como una alianza que se logró como en el compañerismo de este proyecto. A todas lo que lograron aprender o lo que lograron entrar y capacitarse, estoy 100% segura que les sirvió y lo aplicaron.
Esto vino justo en el momento para todas estas empresas, pero hubiera sido un camino mucho más largo si no hubiera sido por el programa de ITC. Y justamente me parece increíble que haya coincidido con la pandemia.
Y ese apoyo que se ha sentido entre todas, tanto entre tutoras como entre compañeras, ha sido un apoyo para nosotras las empresarias aquí en Centroamérica increíble.
Esto gracias a ustedes, gracias al programa de liderazgo.
Qué apoyo, qué proyecto, los que se necesitan de veras en todos los países, en todo, qué increíble.
My name is Michelle Ayongning Dasa. I'm the founder of Lamshare Products, and we are into the production of share-based cosmetics for the skin and hair. Actually, the idea to start Lamshare came up when one of my twin sons had extremely sensitive skin. We were dependent on ointments, reddened skin, and anyone who knew about it offered solutions that didn't work. And we got gifted a bottle of neem oil because someone found out it could help. So after a little bit of research and mixture with shea butter, it worked. And I found myself making more samples for friends, and the number of bottles going out was increasing. So why not? I decided this could be something I should push further. So I decided to make a business out of it. Lam in my dialect means beautiful. once you are able to get nature to soothe the skin, heal, you feel beautiful, you are stress-free. So I'm just saying the best name to use. One thing we ensure is to create our products without having to break down the beautiful qualities and properties of the ingredients. E-commerce in itself gives us the opportunity to reach a wider market. It doesn't limit us to only Ghana. It enables us to market our brand and products to a wider market. And once we are able to do that, it will definitely result in more sales, revenue comes in and allow us to grow. And once we are able to grow, the women cooperatives along our value chain, the suppliers of our ingredients will also have some form of livelihood to also improve their current state.
Hợp tác. Chúng tôi đã về những cái mẫu mã sản phẩm.
This journey started right in my home, in a small kitchen, as I explored how I could make chocolate, and I got an interest in it. So I took some professional courses to be able to develop recipes from scratch. And in 2014, I took a 3-month online course in ecomConnect where I was taught how to develop recipes. We focus on health and well-being. And so that's why we produce with a high percentage of cocoa, because we align ourselves with the SDG goals on health and well-being. The other thing we also focus on is giving young ladies an opportunity to education. So we open up our factory to young ladies who are brilliant but need financial assistance to pursue their academic dreams, to be able to work for short term, sometimes a little long, so they can make some money and pursue their academic dreams. So these are the two main things that we focus as a company and also as part of our corporate social responsibility. One of the reasons I also got into making chocolates is everyone knows in the world that Ghana is number 2 in terms of cocoa production, and that's our cocoa beans are premium the world over. However, in terms of variety, we didn't have a variety on the market. So in 2014, when I started this journey, it was also to put something on the market that can be at par with the products that we see on the international market in terms of chocolate. So we focus on quality, we focus on the packaging, the aesthetics of the packaging, because we want it to be able to run at par with any product across the world. And so that's been our drive as well.
En un principio, nuestra página de internet era básicamente un catálogo. Cuando tú te dabas cuenta que ibas a ferias y lo que tenías que invertir de dinero para mostrar tus productos, tus precios y los diferentes colores, era un dineral.
En ese entonces hicimos un sitio web y nos ganamos un premio. Fue muy gratificante.
Era divertidísimo cuando íbamos a las ferias. Decía, ¿me das tu correo electrónico? ¿Qué? ¿Qué es eso? Pues y había muy pocos y ahora todo lo hacemos a través de una PAL donde automáticamente terminamos de poner el pedido en una feria y se va al correo electrónico y el cliente recibe su orden de compra que puso en la feria en 30 segundos.
Era como tener una página más que todo informativa, ¿no? O sea, creo que la verdad no me imaginaba como tener un e-commerce.
Pero para nosotros siempre fue lo más instintivo, o sea, la idea era cómo alcanzo más personas, cómo llego a todos estos compradores potenciales que están en Europa, en Asia.
Pero yo veía que en todas otras partes del mundo crecía mucho esto, entonces no sabía que no estábamos haciendo bien.
En Nicaragua no estaba con mucha confianza de comprar en línea. Incluso las personas que estaban trabajando conmigo no estaban muy claras de lo que significaba vender a través de una imagen.
Los clientes ya nos preguntan que si tenemos página web. Antes esa pregunta ni siquiera la hacían.
Cuando entró la pandemia, nos vimos forzados a buscar otros canales de venta. Lo bueno es que ya veníamos trabajando en el sitio web a través del programa de ITC, que ha sido de gran ayuda.
La tienda pasó cerrada de marzo hasta diciembre, volvimos a abrir. Entonces, si yo no hubiera tenido mi website, todo ese tiempo hubiera sido perdido, pues, porque la gente no hubiera podido llegar a mis productos.
Fue increíble cómo se activó la página web inmediatamente y eso hizo que todo se acelerara.
La tienda en línea no sustituye o no llega a abarcar todo el mercado como para cerrar la tienda física. Sí nos ha abierto muchísimas puertas. También hay un montón de gente que nos compra, que vive afuera y que tiene familia aquí adentro.
Lo más chiva que tiene es eso, que puede mutar, puede cambiar, no hay límites. Los límites los pongo yo y ya está.
Que nuestros productos puedan salir de nuestra fábrica al consumidor final lo más directo posible. De esa forma el consumidor recibe un mejor precio.
Esa relación con el cliente, esa retroalimentación de ellos y nos da una buena plataforma para contar nuestra historia.
Tú eres Guail, no puedo creerlo, yo te estaba viendo, yo te sigo. Diseñadores que tú no crees que están viéndote en todos los países.
Eso es uno de los beneficios más grandes, ¿no? Conectarnos con el mundo.
Todos los trucos para que la gente cuando busque en internet pues aparezca mi marca como opción.
Nos reta constantemente a ir poniéndonos al nivel de los mercados del mundo. El primer cliente de un emprendedor son sus conocidos, son sus amigos y eso es lo primero que hay que empezar a buscar.
Yo averigüé bien todo lo de los permisos que yo iba a necesitar de acuerdo a mis productos, los impuestos que iban a pagar, toda esa parte para saber poner los precios.
Si tú pones una tienda en línea solo así y no tienes un plan de ataque de cómo la vas a comercializar, estás igual que como que sacaras los productos aquí afuera a la calle y esperaras que alguien te los pase comprando.
El internet va tan rápido que es mentira que algún día vamos a estar realmente listos si no estamos investigando todos los días lo que se tiene que hacer para innovar en esto.
Tienes que seguir el advice que te dan. Tiene desde un video en YouTube que es muy fácil de ver y seguir, como un asesor que puedes contratar y que te puede decir.
Ahorita es el mejor momento porque la gente está buscando el mercado en línea, o sea, está buscándolo, entonces ahorita es cuando lo van a encontrar más fácil.
Tenemos una tienda física, más sin embargo nuestras ventas son 100% en línea.
Tú puedes poner un anuncio en Google Ads y vas a subir 10% más probabilidades de ganar, y puedes poner un anuncio en Facebook y vas a subir otro 10% tus posibilidades de vender, y así vas usando todas las herramientas.
Entonces, así como que llegué a una meta, todavía siento que me falta, porque sí quisiera vender más.
Nos da esa validación que somos una empresa formal y funcionando.
Tener mucha actitud, hay que darle con todo, hay que estar dispuesto al aprendizaje.
La oportunidad a estar en el mercado global, que es lo que todos queremos.
Bonita está la tienda en línea, me metí, está súper chiva, todo me llegó rápido y súper fácil. Ay, puchica, yo me siento súper feliz.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you. I'm delighted to welcome you to this second day of ecomConnect days. I hope you've enjoyed those testimonials of some of the businesses that we work with, which show the progress that they've made through the work that we've been able to do with them. We have another fantastic program for you today, and I'm happy to kick off the tech debate now that will review new trends in technology and more specifically how technology shapes the future of marketplaces. You may have heard about Moore's Law, which first highlighted the exponential growth of technology by identifying a doubling every year in the number of components in a computer chip with a corresponding reduction in cost. This growth is not limited to semiconductors. It has been witnessed across a range of different technologies, from bits of data per second to the performance of solar cells. Technological evolution speeds up exponentially because each generation of technology improves over the last, and so the rate of progress from version to version speeds up. We see this, of course, in the technology that supports online trade. A decade ago, smartphones as we know them today didn't exist. 3 decades earlier, no one even owned a computer. So think about that just for a second. The first personal computers arrived only 40 years ago, and it's nice to put things a little bit in perspective when we start talking about these technological trends. I always like to point out that when I first started selling online in 2005, social media didn't exist. And here this week we had Facebook and Instagram out for about 5 hours, and all the influencers in the world having a terrible time of it because we become so dependent on these new tools. We won't experience 100 years of progress in the 21st century. It will be more like 20,000 years of progress at today's rate. So that kind of, again, puts things a little bit in perspective in terms of how quickly things are evolving. So the question is, where is this acceleration? Where is this pace of technological progress leading us? We're only 21 years into the 21st century, and the progress has been pretty stunning. The global adoption of the internet, smartphones, agile robots, AI that lands, and the list goes on. Of course, we'll not be able to tackle everything in the short time that we have together, but I'm sure we'll have a very engaging discussion with this fantastic panel of speakers. So let me introduce to you the panelists here today. We have Michael Gramlich, author and instructor for data science, machine learning, and AI. He is co-author of the book we lost Annabelle, I think, right? Yeah.
Yep.
So, Annabelle was introducing Michael Gramlich, who is an expert. Hi, Michael. Welcome. Hi. He's an expert in artificial intelligence and data science. And he's a co-author of a book on the topic that we can share with you afterwards. And welcome here to this great debate. And we also have Moti Danino, who is working in Oro. It's a company offering solutions to B2B businesses. It's offering marketplace solutions as well. Yesterday, we had our keynote speaker, Joaf Kuttner from Oro, who is working with Moti, who gave a very inspirational session. I see that Annabelle is here, so I'll just give you the
nothing
floor.
like talking about technology and then being completely sort of let down by it. So I think this is the world telling me that we should definitely be having this discussion. So we love technology, don't we, when it works, and then it's a nightmare when it doesn't. So hopefully you've caught the last. I was presenting Artem here, who's from Payoneer. Hi, Artem, and he has more than 15 years of experience in the development of media and innovative businesses. He's launching in terms of launching startups in partnership with Uber and Google. He has seller experience on Amazon and eBay and is a fintech and e-commerce enthusiast. So a fantastic panel here. And I will hand over now to Michael, who's going to be starting us off with a few concepts around AI. Over to you, Michael.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Annabelle. Let me share my screen with you. Can you confirm that you see a slide?
Yes, we can. Thank
which
you.
says what? Okay, cool, perfect. Then also, hi, hello everyone around the globe from me, from Michael. I'm a data scientist and freelance. I'm currently in Germany, so I hope you have better weather than we have. What I wanted to do in the first 7-8 minutes is to resolve the confusion that I think a lot of people have around what AI is and how it works, to then see in the second part how marketplaces use AI and what kind of implications that has for both you as people who sell there, as well as the society itself. I'm working in tech, and in tech, things are moving very fast. And one thing that is moving very fast are buzzwords, right? So 4 or 5 years ago, big data was a huge thing and everyone talked about it, which led Dan O'Reilly, a professor at Duke University, to say that big data is like teenage sex. Everyone talks about it. Nobody really knows how to do it. Everyone thinks everyone else is doing it, and so everyone claims they're doing it. And a few years later, it was data science. A few years later, it was machine learning, and today it's AI. And what I want to achieve in the next 2 minutes is to just give you a very simple, basic definition of what it is not, and what it can do, and what it also cannot do. Good. So in the simplest form, AI is nothing than computer systems that display intelligent behavior and can therefore perform tasks that would usually require some sort of human intelligence, right? So there's nothing fancy about this definition. The problem is that it's quite broad, because what is human intelligence and what is behavior really? And one thing that helps to distinguish or to understand what AI is and what it isn't is to distinguish between what we call weak or narrow AI, which are systems that have intelligence for only one specific or narrow task, and strong or general AI, which is what everyone thinks of when they hear the word AI. So something like the Terminator or Sony from iRobot, so systems with intelligence across an entire spectrum of human intelligence and activities. Now, here's the thing. We have had AI around for a long time, for decades, right? The thing is just that we were historically on the left side of this axis. And what we're seeing now is that we're rapidly moving to the right side. So AI systems that everyone has been using for years are, for instance, spam filter algorithms for emails that protect you from hazardous spam emails. What we've seen come up in the last 2 or 3 years are chatbots on websites, right? So they're basically replacing call centers. And the next, more intelligent, more sophisticated AI that we're going to see are probably going to be something like autonomously driving vehicles. And then there's many other examples of cases where we see, some sort of computer systems get gradually more intelligent and are able to do more things. Now, I've mentioned that we move from the left to the right, and Annabelle has mentioned Moore's law. One of the reasons why we are moving from left to right, and one of the reasons why we're moving there very fast, is that AI today is basically created with a thing called machine learning. And the attempt to create AI systems has been going on for decades, since the 1950s at least. And human mankind has tried many approaches, some of which worked well, some of which didn't work really well. But the one approach that has, in the last 20 years, become very dominant in creating AI systems is machine learning. What is machine learning? Machine learning is basically if you marry statistics with computer science. So it's an academic discipline that is concerned with teaching a machine to learn a certain task. And how does it do that? Here's the thing, here's the crux with everything. It does so by giving the machine just data. So if you want to create an AI system, basically what you need is 3 ingredients today. You need a specific task to be learned. You need historic data on it. And if you have that, then you just give this data to a machine learning model, and it's going to be able to pick up or learn the task that you want it to learn. For instance, if you are an e-marketplace and you want to create an AI system that is showing product recommendations to customers, then this would be a task. What you would need for that is data on how previous customers behaved. Then you can simply feed this data into a machine learning model, and it's going to pick up and learn patterns. For instance, if you are from Germany and you have previously looked at Mercedes-Benz cars on our website, then you will probably like the newest S-Class model of Mercedes-Benz. Or if you are from Japan, then you might be more likely to click on or like, I don't know, Toyota or Kia or whatever. And these are patterns that then through machine learning, you can identify, and you can train a machine to learn, and you can then use it as an AI system. And this slide is basically also the answer to the question of why AI is so dominant and why everyone is talking about it now. Because honestly, with machine learning, not so much has changed. The algorithms have gotten a little bit better, but it's not like huge leaps forward. Tasks to be learned we always had, but the one thing that has changed is that we have a lot more data. And one of the reasons is that we move our lives to the internet, right? We order things online now instead of going to the shop. Good. So this is AI. This is basically how it works in a nutshell. How do marketplaces use that? And why is this important for you? I've just listed 2 examples here. The first one is the one that I talked about already, product recommendations. So think about Amazon or Etsy. Basically, what they have is a record of every visitor of their website, what they looked for, what they clicked on, how long they spent on a product page, whether they clicked from one product page to another one. And with this data, they are able to train AI systems that recommend the right products to you at the right time, right? So my phone is almost broken. I actually went on Amazon yesterday to buy a new phone. And everyone, I think, knows this. If you type in Samsung S10 or whatever, then you automatically get product recommendations like, hey, you might also like to buy a new mini SD card and a new charging cable and new headphones and also a cover. Again, this is quite a narrow AI because it's only one task of recommending the right products. A second thing, which I think is more relevant for you, is the whole topic of SEO. And Annabelle is very good at that. She does that, and I think she's helped many companies already with that. But because e-commerce websites are also just platforms that list products, somehow or something has to decide how products are listed for a certain customer, right? So it's nothing but a search engine. And there's a reason, or let me ask a question. Our book is called The Ultimate Data and AI Guide, 150 FAQs about artificial intelligence, machine learning, and data. 2 questions. What do you think of the title? And yes, it's a terrible title, but why have we still gone with it? I hate this title, but we still chose it because it covers a lot of keywords. You see that we have AI and artificial intelligence both in there, which mean the same thing, but we just have two different words for it because we want to catch all people who type artificial intelligence, but also AI in there. So we've chosen a very lengthy, verbose name, which is very clumsy, but this was all driven by SEO performance and optimizing our rankings on Amazon. And yeah, the AI system of Amazon, it's not even within Amazon. They have outsourced it. They've founded an own company, which is responsible for only creating and maintaining the algorithm which lists products for certain customers. It's a very sophisticated thing. It depends on what keywords you use, how your ratings are, how long people spend time on your product page, etc. That's a second example of an AI system that's in place in marketplaces. Now, what are implications for you that arise because marketplaces use AI systems like these? Implication number 1 is that success, if you sell through marketplaces, requires two things. One, your product has to be good. That's just a given, right? The second thing is, if you want to succeed on these websites, you need to be able to game the AI system. So you need to be able to game the system such that you appear on the rankings first. And that's just your primary goal. The second thing, which is more a societal thing, is that we have a bit of a monopolization of power in marketplaces, right? Because they determine who ranks first, and therefore is also who is most successful economically. And it's not even the marketplaces themselves, so it's guys like me, or people like me, who write the rules and who write the system's AI. Now, and that's very debatable, I think, because obviously this is not created by some sort of democratic rule or something. Third implication, it's fostering inequality, and I've put a question mark there because, yeah, I don't know if there are any studies out there, but basically, if the AI decides who has success and who doesn't, then the people who know the system or who are able to game the system will be the ones who succeed. So does this foster inequality or equality? I'll leave this up to the debate. And I'm finishing with, a picture of me on stairs. Feel free to reach out. Thanks for your attention so far. And I'm handing back to Annabelle.
Thank you so much, Michael, for this great introduction into the topic and really setting the scene here with regards to some of these technological advances and how they link up with marketplaces. I'm going to hand over now to Moti. Moti and his team have been in the field of e-commerce for a number of years. They were behind the development of Magento. Now they're working on Oro, which provides lots of solutions for B2B businesses, and they've just entered the marketplace world. So Marty, tell us a bit more about Oro and your thoughts on this. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Annabelle, and thanks for having me. Good morning, good evening, everyone. Depends on where you're at in the world. Much appreciated to be here. I'm going to quickly share a slide here. So let me do that. Let me know if you see my screen. You see my screen?
Yeah, it's coming up. It's not on presentation. There we go. Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, cool. So I'll give you a quick introduction about Oro and what we're doing as a setup of our follow-up discussion. Just quickly about Oro. So we were founded in 2009, and as Annabelle mentioned, our team built Magento. And Magento, if you're not familiar with it, it's a very, very successful B2C e-commerce platform. It was sold to eBay in 2011, and then after that, we started Oro. Now, when we started, the reason we started Oro is because of the experience that we had in Magento. A lot of companies were coming to us and said, hey, we're doing commerce, it's B2B, it's different. And initially we thought, of course we can do that. What do you mean? It's, as an entrepreneur, you always think, yeah, of course I can do that. But very quick, we found out that you really can't. And I'll explain that in a second. So as I said, we are 9 years in business. We currently have about 150 employees. We're serving companies all over the world. Obviously major markets are in North America and Europe, but we have customers in Asia, Latin America, and the Middle East. We have offices in 5 countries. Our corporate is in LA, but we also have offices in France, Germany, UK, Poland, and Ukraine. What's interesting about our product, when you're talking about the category of product that we're playing with, is that we have what we call a community edition, which is a free edition, right? It's free to get the code, but it's still, you'll have some investment in order to operate it, but it allows you to really see the features and the capability that the system have. We use an open source strategy, meaning using technologies that are open source. So we have a community edition that it's free. We have also the commercial license open source, meaning companies pay us for the license. This is how we make our money. And we have about 500,000 active install of our community edition. We have 150 mid and enterprise customers and 20,000 members of our community. Now, I know it's a busy slide, so I'll try to explain and take you through it. So as I mentioned, the companies came to us and said, hey, you know, we're building e-commerce, it's B2B, and it's different. And it's very, very different than B2C. You know, that's if you're selling to businesses, it's totally different than selling to consumers, at least, you know, in many cases that we see. Obviously, there are variations, but it's very different because your consumer is not an end user. Your consumer is a company, right? And you know, it's not an impulse buying. You know, if you think about, you know, people going in different websites, they find what they like, you know, and go and swipe the credit card and go out, right? In the B2B, it's different. You know, companies need to follow up processes many times. You know, in the B2B world, for example, a few things that are very different, I'll just touch on a high level is, to some customers, maybe you want to show different prices because they buy in different volumes, so you want to give them a different price. So you have different contracts with different buyers. Maybe there are some companies in the world that you want to show different catalogs and different products. Maybe there are some regulation that this certain type of product you can't sell to these countries, but you can sell in other ones. So you need to control that as well. You know, you need to provide the buyers with different type of processes that they can buy. Each company have its own process, and you need to provide these processes. In a company that buys from you, maybe there are multiple users, and each user have a different role that they participate in the commerce. So there are a lot of things that you need to think about in the B2B world that are totally different than B2C. And if they are not built as such from the ground up, it's very, very hard to achieve. So we set out to build products that are primarily focused on digital B2B, be it either B2B commerce, one merchant selling to multiple buyers, or marketplace where you have multiple sellers selling to multiple buyers. So that's what we focus with Oro Commerce, and that's what you know, our focus as far as marketplaces and e-commerce. Now, what makes us different is that we offer a lot of capabilities that can serve different use cases. If it's, you know, B2B, we have customers that doing B2B, but they also have B2C channels. So we allow them to sell B2B and B2C, right? We have companies that sells to government, and there's some different sets in regulation. And obviously we have a marketplace, which is also a marketplace as itself. You know, obviously we have Amazon and eBay and Mercado Libre, all these marketplaces that we know for a while. But a new trend that we see in the market is that brand owners, manufacturers, wholesalers build their own marketplace as well, right? And they bring other distributors or other partners to sell on that. And that's something that you can do on Oro as well. What's unique about us that we also have a CRM that it's fully integrated to the system. And CRM, it's customer relationship management. And it's a tool that really enables the merchants to be effective in their marketing and sales process. You know, a CRM, it's a whole domain by itself. But we decided that from the get-go that, you know, CRM and commerce, especially in the B2B, have to go hand in hand. And we develop it as such. And we have tools that not just for, you know, catalog managers or merchandisers, but also for marketers, salespeople, customer service, and so on. One unique or not, I don't know if I can call it unique, but something that we really emphasize from the beginning is the flexibility of the system. What we found out in the B2B space and in the marketplace space, that every customer is different, right? It can be businesses that serve similar customers in a very in the same industry, have the same challenge, but each one of them will overcome it differently. So the system have to be flexible enough to to serve those needs of different customers. We are, as I said, a global company. We have our cloud services. We're using Google Cloud, so we can launch, customers all over the world. And we have a very, very high focus on security, right? Security in data, information security. As an e-commerce merchant, one of the things that you really, really have to think about is information security, how you protect your customer information, how you protect transaction information. Because once somebody break into your system and steal your data, you lose your trust. We talked about, probably you talked about brand, but if your website is not trusted, nobody will come to buy from you. So security is a very, very important topic. Again, a huge topic that can be discussed on its own. So that's what we're focusing on. And if you are familiar with analysts like Gartner and Forrester, they recognize the work we do, and we as a company ranked #1 for B2B commerce now. And we also ventured into marketplaces, and we're doing a lot of work in marketplaces. Again, this is a new trend that kind of came in the last 3 or 4 years, that brand owner and manufacturers are building their own marketplaces. And we got into this just because our system is flexible enough to deliver on these needs. And we have customers and marketplaces all over the world. So that's quick introduction about Oro. If you'll have questions for me, or if you want to learn more, there's my direct email. You can send me emails. I'm more than happy to answer. For us, commerce is not a work, it's a passion. So feel free to send me any questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marty, and for framing as well the discussion around the importance of B2B, and also the breadth and the depth of the solutions that you offer to the businesses. And it is a very different world when we're talking about online selling for B2B businesses. And of course, we know that it's a lot of the businesses were shying a little bit away from this digital transition, but now they really have to get on board either with their own e-commerce system, or at least with some form of digital identity. And we also see, like you do, the growing rise of marketplaces. So smaller marketplaces getting set up across the world and challenging some of the bigger players. So I'll hand over now to Artem. Artem, we see huge changes in terms of payments as well. It's a sector where things are evolving very, very fast. You're present across the world and you make available payment systems to many of the businesses that we support. So I'll hand over to you to present, say a few words on Payoneer.
Thank you, Annabelle. Thank you, speakers. Thank you, all the participants. So I'll try to be quick and point out advantages of Payoneer if you want to go online and start selling on Amazon or other marketplaces that we partner with. So just a few words about Payoneer itself. Yeah, we founded in New York in 2005. It's 16 years of development, and 2021 was quite very efficient and successful for the company. In January, we became one of 8 approved payment provider of Amazon worldwide. In May, we became the exclusive and the only one payment provider for eBay worldwide. And on June 28th, we started selling on NASDAQ and became a company. So it's quite a successful year for Payoneer, and a good opportunity to join the platform and start exploring it. So what's behind Payoneer Inc? It's 5 million of international users. We serve our users in more than 190 countries around the world. We see just double digits growth locally and worldwide regarding our customer base, and we operate in offices in 25 countries, so we can cover the whole world 24/7 to provide better service to our customers. So a few words about the e-commerce right now, and the world has changed, and it truly does, because if you can see on the slide, for 12 years, yeah, the cross-border commerce just expanded. Yeah, it was 15 trillion in 2010. It was around $50 trillion last year, and Ernst & Young and Boston Consulting Group projects around 156 trillion next year. So just 3 times in few years, in less than a generation. So, and not only the world has changed, but the habits of our customers, of our clients has changed. If before you used to use catalogs to buy something or to find somebody to provide services, and now you go to Upwork or Fiverr or any other people power marketplace. The same with traveling. It's not a problem to travel anymore. You don't need to find travel agency or agent. You just go online, find Booking or Airbnb and book your trip and buy your tickets online. The same with retail and the way people buy stuff. We don't need to go to the high street or the supermarket or somewhere else. You just click Amazon and more than 5,000 marketplaces around the world and place your order. The same with mobility of our customers. Right now it's all on the cell phone. If you need to go somewhere, you just call Uber, Didi, or any other solution for transportation. So there is a whole global digital wave, and we truly can experience this open e-commerce area and connect on a digital plane that internet provides us right now. So what do our clients want in terms of payment efficiency? They want fast and easy payments. And here for you, it's an opportunity to explore those advantages of Payoneer because I think today it's the easiest time to get paid from all over the world, or to send payments, or to provide any services or goods to any point of the world and receive funds for that. Because like, for example, with Payoneer or any other fintech solution, you can open an account, you can have receiving accounts in more than 15 local currencies, and by selling globally, you can receive your funds to Payoneer and withdraw it to your bank account locally. So there is no problem in borders anymore. If you want to provide services, sell goods in USA, in UK, in Europe, in Japan, Canada, there is no problem. You decide how you do it. You decide you're doing it through online store or through dropshipping model or any other thing, and Payoneer or other fintech platforms here to provide you with the funds from the customers. Plus, the big demand is for service, support, and value, and all of those you can find also on Payoneer. As I explained before, you can get paid from any point of the world where you sell. You can withdraw funds to your local bank account or pay your contractor for goods or services that he provided, even if he is not in your country, like sits in China, in the United States, in Brazil, wherever. Just one click and you provide the funds where you want to provide them. You also, through payment solution, you can pay for advertisement on Facebook, on Google, on Amazon. You can pay VAT where it's needed. So it's not a problem of a big network of accounts or a big knowledge base, just one solution here in Payoneer or any other payment provider that can provide you such values. Plus, I also want to add that additional value is support. We invest a lot in our customer care and customer support, and 24/7 you can find an answer solution that can be provided from one of our services globally. I would say that right now, as mentioned before, the best time to receive payments from any place of the world, and the best time to sell anything in any part of the world. So you can receive funds, as mentioned, from any country where you sell at. You can receive funds from individual or a company, and you can receive those funds in any format or any way that it's convenient to your client or your customer. It can be credit card, it can be e-check, it can be bank transfer, whatever. You can also receive it from gateway solutions like Stripe or Checkout to your Payoneer account and then to your bank account. How it's done, for 16 years, we've been building this global infrastructure we're proud of. Yes, as mentioned, we operate in more than 190 countries with more than 150 currencies. We have hundreds of our regional payment providers and partners. And also we are proud to be a partner with such global banks as Bank of America, Barclays, Citi, and Deutsche Group. So as mentioned, only you can receive funds from anywhere of the world, but if you have freelancers or suppliers or contractors anywhere else in the world, it's the same way easy to send those funds to UK, to Africa, to Middle East, to China, to individual or to company, to contractor or freelancer or private entrepreneur. Even if you have a lot of contractors, freelancers, or private entrepreneurs around the world who provide services to you or provide goods to you, you can do it only in one click in your Payoneer account. As mentioned, support 24/7. It's a key for nowadays, and I think a standard for the whole industry, because as mentioned, you need fast, easy payments, and if something happens, you need to get a solution and get an answer very fast. So support 24/7, more than 15 currencies, plus if you need higher limits on your cards, on your transfers, we can provide it to you, and you can use as many cards as you want to buy advertisement, to pay to contractors, and do other stuff that's needed. Additionally, last year we launched very important product for online sellers. We provide it on Amazon and Walmart. It's MCA, Merchant Capital Advanced, or Working Capital, for easy understanding. We provide it for 1 to 6 month period, up to $750,000 per one time, and it's a great solution for you as a seller to expand your business when the high season, holiday season is coming up in front of you, so you can buy more stuff in order to sell more on marketplaces and get paid. Thank you. If any questions, I gladly will answer them on our panel. Thank you, Annabelle.
Thank you very much, Artem, for all of this information. Things are, as we can see, things are changing very fast, and it's really opening up opportunities for businesses all over the world. And there's, like you said, there's really no time like now to be online and to be selling your goods. So we're going to open it up to the discussion. You're free to ask questions in the chat. And I'm going to start off with Michael with a question around AI. So we saw you already broached the topic a little bit, and in the way that AI can be used for recommendations. I've heard as well of dynamic pricing as well, so offering different pricing depending on different channels, for example. How would your suggestion be for small businesses for them to be able to use, and is it possible for them to use AI to boost their visibility or to improve or to find new customers? What would your recommendation be in this regard?
Yeah, good question. I think the general answer is like the lady said in the introduction video. I think she said something like, if you want to sell your products online without a strategy, it's like going out in the streets and hoping someone will buy your product. So I think more than ever, you need to be very clear on your marketing. You need to be very clear on your target persona, on your target customers, and see how you can reach them. And one of the branches, or one of the ways you can reach them, are these global e-commerce marketplaces, or our Google ads, or our Facebook ads. And so I think before thinking about how can I use AI to sell my products, another question you could ask is, how does the AI of the e-commerce marketplaces work, and how can I use it to my advantage? So every e-commerce platform is a little bit different, but the one thing you should really always find out is, how does their ranking work? And for some big platforms like Amazon, there's a lot of free online content on YouTube, or their online courses on how you can improve your rankings, how you should launch your products in order to climb the rankings fast. So find out how these e-commerce platforms work, how they do their rankings, and then beat the system. And for the bigger, and then in the next step, for the bigger platforms like Amazon, There are also tools that you can use, AI tools that you can use to help you with that. So for instance, there's Jungle Scout, which is a software or an add-on for your web browser that enables you to do market analysis for Amazon products. So you can do competitor analysis before you even enter a market. You can see, okay, if you're selling chocolate, like the lady in the video, you might first want to do a market analysis and see how big is the market for chocolate in Amazon Germany, or I don't know, wherever you want to go. And even before you enter market or before you start producing a product, you can do a market analysis and see if it's actually worth it. So yeah, there are a few ways, but the one thing you always need to be clear on is who is your target persona, who is your target group, and then you can figure out how to reach that and if AI systems can help you with that.
Thank you so much, and for highlighting this important point. When we work with some of our business, one of the first things that we do with them is this sort of market research, e-commerce strategy, to get a sense of, okay, is my product suitable to sell online? Who am I looking to sell it to? Is it going to be possible to send it to that customer base? And it can be quite tough to start out with that, but it is just so important to highlight how important that is. And like you say, there's lots of tools out there like Jungle Scouts. We also have a number of ITC tools, Trade Map, Market Access Map. If you don't know of them, go on our website and you'll be able to have a look, which can give you indications as well of where the markets are for your products. I have a question now for Motti. Really sort of diving deep into this sort of B2B segment. What would your recommendation be for a business that doesn't have much an online presence yet? What would be the most important thing for them, and what kind of technology Oro offers that could be suitable for them?
Yeah, so you know, I think when you want to go online and you kind of start your venture, I think you know, knowledge and information is key, right? You need to educate yourself on what's going on in the market, and that obviously different ways to do that. You have this conference where you're learning a lot about what's going on. In the internet provide a lot of things. You can go to YouTube. There are associations out there that you know that can help and that provide information. And you know, if you go to the big kind of e-commerce platform, Shopify or BigCommerce or WooCommerce, they'll provide advice on how to do things. But you need to gather information and about what's there in the market. It's also in the marketplaces. If you want to participate in a marketplace, there are many different marketplaces out there. There are, you know, general marketplaces. There are marketplaces that are focused on specific products or niches. There are marketplaces that are B2B and B2C. So, you know, if you're talking about your audience, who is your audience? You know, where your audience is coming to buy the product. And there are, you know, marketplaces that are focusing on geolocation. So which regions you want to buy. You know, but at the end of the day, I think one thing that, you know, through the videos that I saw before this started, is at the end of the day, you have to start. You know, you have to take the risk. You have to do something. You have to participate. You know, there's a story about this guy that died and went to heaven, and he's going to God and says, "Hey God, you know, all my friends won. You know, many of my friends won the lottery. Why didn't I win the lottery?" And God asked him, "Did you feel a ticket?" No, you didn't, right? So if you don't do things, you know, it's never going to happen. So, you know, through participation, and once you start, you also learn. The learning curve never stops, right? You try technologies and that you think might help, and then you know, you need to evolve and change or add new different things, and you learn things about your business. So you have to start, get your hand dirty, and just go on with it and take the risk. Obviously, there's a calculated risk, but hey, you're an entrepreneur. You have to jump into the cold water sometime and do it.
Thanks, Motti, for that take on this, and it's something that, you know, we talk about constantly learning. We talk about to our business of always optimizing the websites. Often they feel that once they're online, the job is done, they can walk away and they're that's it. And actually, it's always the beginning, yet they're really at the start of their journey. And you constantly, whether it's by doing more research or by looking at your Google Analytics and just getting it more and more information so that you can keep tweaking the channel that you have to make it more and more relevant and successful. So it's an important point to highlight. The work is never done. There's always more that can be done. Artem, I wanted to ask, it's fantastic that Payoneer is available in so many countries where many payment providers don't really want to be, such as Ukraine, Turkey, Pakistan. How do you manage a truly global platform while ensuring that everything's regulated and you're compliant across all the markets?
Thank you for the question, Annabelle. Yeah, it's to be the key to success to be regulated globally is to also to be regulated locally and to be suitable for all the regulations where we work at, and one of the biggest challenges of KYC and regulatory is not always, there is no like white label solution or something for that. Yeah, and we've been investing in our KYC and compliance for 16 years, and there are different patterns of how you identify where is risky and where is not risky, and where you can serve customers better and where less. Like for just an example to give, like if we see a lot of customers with the same IP address in United Kingdom or United States, for example, it's definitely some kind of fraud that we need to stop and make an expertise on that. And if you see the same in Philippines or Vietnam, yeah, it's not a matter of fraud because people use like internet cafes with one IP address. So you need to be global in regulation, but to understand the local specifics of all the markets. That's how we get this knowledge base on KYC, on compliance, and a big history, big knowledge base behind that helps us to be serving our customers better and better. And definitely due to COVID and expansion of e-commerce and online payments, we need to be more careful on the one hand, but on the other hand, we want to engage more and more customers on the platform. So that's why we take this risk and we go and offer our solution to high-risk countries. We don't work with high-risk verticals, but we try to provide the better service for all the customers that needs that global service. Yeah, cross-border payments, in order to get paid from marketplaces, in order to get paid for freelance job, in order to get paid for supply of goods and services. So that's the way it is.
Thank you for giving us this background information. It's true that we often are frustrated with payment providers. We feel that they're they make it hard for businesses, but we tend to forget obviously all of the requirements that you need to abide by. And when you're operating a global business like this, there's a huge amount of different types of regulations that you need to take into account. And of course, it's important that you provide a safe system that's going to be trustworthy. So just a quick rebound. We're talking about sort of new advances, new technologies. Obviously, everybody's sort of aware of Bitcoin and different kinds of cryptocurrencies that are coming into play. They sort of make an appearance and then disappear, and there's a huge amount of volatility. So it's not really something that's being offered much yet in terms of online sales. But what's your take on that? Is this something that's going to become mainstream in the coming years, or stay on the fringes?
We definitely watch, how this Bitcoin development goes on. So far we are not taking any steps in this direction, but definitely it's going to be a big thing in the years that's coming up. And if you see a lot more and more countries start making laws and regulations upon Bitcoin, so I think in a few upcoming years there's going to be a global regulation, and there's going to be like simple and understandable rules for the Bitcoin, for the currencies, for buyers and for sellers. And it's going to be a time then fintech and banks are going to also take part in this, because so far, with no regulation, it's very hard to predict how it goes. So in order to protect also our existing customer base, we need to watch out and see how it develops in the future. That's the point. Thank you.
Michael, we had a question from the chat. We're talking about regulation here, and one of the issues that some of the businesses and some of the brands have especially when they're listing on marketplaces, is the protection of their intellectual property of their brands. We see that with some of the big luxury brands where there's like copies that are done of their branding. And the question was, is there a tool, a technological tool or AI tool that helps identify fake listings of products on marketplaces? It's a very technical question, so I don't, you may not have the answer, but any thoughts on that?
I don't have the answer. I don't know, but I would assume that at least the big marketplaces have algorithms that check whether your product listing is okay or fraudulent. And I'm pretty sure they have.
So they are getting much stricter. So I remember the days when anybody could just create an account on Alibaba and sell whatever. They didn't even ask for company registrations, they didn't ask for VAT numbers, they didn't ask for anything. So there was a bit of a wild west out there, I'd say around 2010, 2011 with Alibaba, even Amazon. Very, very few questions were asked. They just sort of opened it up to everyone and anyone, and it was some of the brands definitely suffered from it because there was little control. So I think now they're much stricter in terms of their requirements, but it is a difficult topic, and some of our businesses struggle with this digital transformation because they fear that if they do go online, they will lose out somehow, that others will be able to copy their designs. For example, we see that with small handicrafts. So it is a bit of a concern for some of the businesses.
No, and I understand fully, and I understand that many companies or businesses have concerns like this. I think spontaneously I'll just ask the question, what's the counterfactual? Not selling through e-commerce, I think, is not an option anymore. And if you're concerned about, copyright, I think there's a saying in the startup world which says, "Don't worry that people are going to copy your idea if it's good. If it's really good, you need to ram it down their throats because they're not going to believe it." So I'm personally never concerned about any copyright stuff. I always share my slides and everything, because I think of it as marketing. There's not only costs involved, but costs coming from it, but also benefits, which is, just you being out there and people actually copying you, which is a compliment for me.
Yeah, and Monty, maybe you can weigh in. Yoav was talking yesterday about how he made Magento available to lots of businesses on a sort of open source, and of course Oro to some extent is doing the same. So what's your take on that in terms of the importance of sharing the technology and also to help bridge the digital gap, because we know that some of the businesses that that we work with, at least that are across the world, don't necessarily have the same kinds of budgets?
Yeah, so that's a good question. The open source strategy for us was successful at the Magento days, and there are a lot of things that we took from our strategies and things that we did in Magento and bring to Oro. A lot of things we changed, but the open source was having a community edition, as we call it, and a free edition was always important for us. Obviously, the community edition, it's kind of a slimmer version of our paid version, right? It's not the same, but it's very, very similar. For us, the big difference are not on small features and capabilities. For us, the differences are what capabilities really big businesses would need versus if you are just a small business and you want to start, so you can start with that. For us, it's not just, it was proven to be a great marketing tool, but it's also, there's benefits for us and benefits for the people out there that want to start commerce, because one, they can really download the product that it's almost like an enterprise grade for free. They can and see what the features and capabilities are, assess if this product is something that they want to use. Is it too complex? Is it something that they really can use? And really see the features and capabilities and really get familiar with the product and even test it before they really invest a lot, right? So that allows you to, okay, and it's what's funny things that we find out, we have companies that running on our community edition, which is free, but we also find out that sometimes big companies take it and try it on a small business unit and say, okay, let's start it here, see if it works, and then we'll take it to the rest of the organization. Some of our biggest customers came to us this way, right? But also for smaller businesses, it's really, we open this out and say, hey, take a look, look at the guts of our system and look at everything. And we give you the opportunity to assess it before you even spend a dime. And I think it's the community appreciate it. And for us, obviously, it helps us to spread our word out there. But a lot of our partners, a lot of our customers really appreciate that we provide something for free that they can learn it. And we don't not just provide the product, but we provide a lot of education around it, right? A lot of documentation and a lot of videos on how to do things so people can really feel it and touch it before they make a decision. And, it's almost like a way to contribute back, which feels good.
Thank you. Yeah, and it highlights again this importance of doing the research and putting in the hours. Unfortunately, there's no magic fixes. A lot of people tend to think that going online is a magic solution to all their problems, which it can be if you put the hours and if you put the commitment to testing the systems, to learning about them. We have quite a few questions in the chat around AI and how can it be made available for small businesses and the fact that it's expensive. And I'd say, I think we broached the topic a little bit earlier, Michael, but I think it goes down to data. I mean, this is what you were saying at the beginning. For those of you who've missed it, listen to the recording and listen back to what Michael was saying at the beginning in terms of what's behind AI. And actually, it's just a lot of data. So one of the first things that we tell our businesses when we're working with them is, do you have Google Analytics? And if you don't, put it on now, because even if you don't have time to look at it, it will be collecting information for you, which will be useful when you have time to look at it in 1 year's time. It's very difficult to know what to do and what to change if you don't base it on the data. So it's a bit like flying blind. You just don't really know where the road is and you don't know where to go. Michael, maybe you have a few more insights on that.
Maybe let me just add something that Motti said before of at some point you just have to go out there and try it, which is basically, if you try something, you get the data, right? If you start selling chocolate with flavor X, you can start seeing how it develops in the market and what the market demand for it is. And the beautiful thing about data is you can even do that before you have a product. So I've seen e-commerce businesses selling through e-commerce that just set up products they didn't even have yet. They put it on their website, they put it on e-commerce platforms just to see how the market demand would be. And based on this data, they were able to decide, okay, it's worth investing in developing this product or not this product. And so this is coming back to the calculated risk that you take. And the beautiful thing about the world we live in is we can collect data before we even have an investment of creating a product. So this might also be a viable strategy for some of you.
Thank you. Michael, while we have you here, we're going to start wrapping up. Any additional concluding remarks that you want to share?
No, I just want to thank you for having me. I hope it was helpful for some of the participants. And yeah, thanks for having me. Thanks for organizing everything, Annabelle and team. And yeah, feel free to reach out if you have any more questions.
Thanks, Michael. It's a pleasure. Moti, how about you?
Yeah, I just want to tell everybody, e-commerce is, it's you're living on a double-edged sword. In one end, it's very exciting, and it's a very exciting world, but it's also a fear of failure. But you have to start. If you don't start, you already failed. So go for it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Very encouraging. Jump off that cliff.
Jump. You have to jump.
Artem, how about you?
I would like to also add a few words to what Moti is saying. Yeah, you just need to try, because right now there are on almost every worldwide marketplace like Amazon, eBay, Walmart, there's opportunity for you to try individually, yeah, to sell one piece of any good, yeah, and receive those funds for that piece. And it's easy. Just try to sell one and sell the second, and maybe someday you'll become a premium partner, premium client of Aura. Yeah, I'll be VIP client of Payoneer. I'll ask for AI suggestion from Michael. Yes, so definitely just go and try. It's easy. There is no big risk in just selling one piece in the United States or in UK or in Brazil and receiving those funds to your bank account. Go for it. Thank you.
Thank you so much to Artem and to all of you. And I'll add one thing in addition to jumping off the cliff and giving it a go, just bringing it back, I suppose, a little bit to the initial topic around technology and how quickly everything is evolving. And I'm going to borrow the word of a business coach, Rashid Ogularu, and he says, all the tools, techniques, and technology in the world are nothing without the head, heart, and hands to use them wisely, kindly, and mindfully. So AI is great, technology is great, we all love it. Sometimes it fails us, like today, but of course we need to make sure we have humans behind it that use them wisely. So on this closing remark, thank you again for the ones who want this. The day continues, so stay tuned and stay logged on for the next session. And Michael, Moti, Artem, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Thanks, Annabelle.
Have a good weekend. Have a good rest of the day.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. And for the next session, you have to use the link I just added on Zoom on the chat. We will have a break for 15 minutes where we will do some networking activities, and then we'll start with the workshops. So looking forward to see you there. Thanks, Annabelle.
Thanks, Chris.
Do we stay here for networking activities, or do we use the link already?
You can use the link already. I'll post it again so that it doesn't get lost. Just in case you couldn't listen, we are organizing now a break with networking activities on this Zoom link that I just shared in the chat. And then in that same Zoom link, you will be able to attend the workshops and a live interview today. So looking forward to seeing you there. Thank you.
So, Chris, we still have 32 participants here. So, yeah. Again, we could repeat the message.
Yes. So in case you couldn't listen before, we are organizing now a networking break just for 15 minutes. It's in another Zoom link, which I just added on the chat. And we will also use the same, that Zoom link on the chat to join all the workshops and the rest of the events during the day. So please feel free to join. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be very practical. And we hope to see you all there too.
Because in a few moments, we'll be closing this link. So then this will go dead. So you do need to move over to the other link. And there you'll see in the rest of the afternoon, you'll see after we have the networking session, which there's still a few minutes of that left. But perhaps you also want to get a cup of coffee, but then be back on the other link, which we've posted now at 2:30. That's European time, or whatever. So that's in about 10 minutes time that we're looking at an e-commerce lab. That's how to find business opportunities with a new edition of the Marketplace Explorer that's being launched. That's new to the world. It'll actually be new to me as well. So that's in 10 minutes time. That should be very interesting. So you need to move over to the link, okay, that we've posted in the chat. After that, we'll have a session on how to set up your own marketplace, which is with a couple of experts that we've been working with, who will give tips and tricks about creating your own marketplace, and that's on the other link. So basically, you need to be thinking about that now. Copy the link from the chat and paste it into your browser, or copy it onto a document and go and join that link, okay? And then we'll have an interview with a successful e-commerce entrepreneur from Bangladesh, who we know very well. And that will more or less close the day with an optional extra session where you can have some fun, relax, and learn some tips about meditation, should you want, after the end of today's session. So there's still 28 people here. In a few moments, we will be closing this session. So if you want to, you should copy the link from the chat room and go to that session, okay? If you want to put you could maybe put a slide up here.
Yeah, but some people might get confused if we do that. I think we should just close the session and move on to the next one.
Okay, because now there's still 26 people there.
Yeah.
So I think probably people have walked away. Okay, so I'll stop.
See you in the next session. The link is here. Ciao. Thank you, everyone.